desire. And every time I groaned or complained or thought about food, I fell from God's grace. So I gritted my teeth and plodded through the day, because heaven forbid, if I made my feelings known, I would fall from my Father's grace as well. I'll stop there for this one.
Thank you, Maria. So from piety, we're going to move on to Amrita's book. Again, this first reading is going to be about, it's going to take us to the world of the book. So I think that we'll start with the Delhi marked out. So, and then we'll move to the, and sort of skip ahead to the college, a little bit of the weirdness, and then we go back to Maria. So basically, just to set this, it's multiple voices, and I think Anindita has done a great job of sort of setting the book up. I'm just going to start with Amy's chapter, looking back at her childhood. Two little girls filled with talk of an adventure, a quest, almost always invented by a new older brother, Mario. Is that my mic? Treasure maps and secret passwords, children only, no adults allowed. He brooks no dissent, but is a generous despot. Why the best sort? He tells me then that the pin codes are real codes, that they're key. Except being from outside the country as much as from around here, he calls them zip codes. Zip codes is what they are to the rest of the world. Here in India, they're plain old pin codes that's short for postal index number. It's only Mario and I who know that those numbers are sort of code to life. If we figure out the code, he tells me, we'll stay safe and together forever. Oh Mario, I'm trying to make a map even now, even at the end, hoping to get a treasure chest before it's too late. Back then it's simple. We stay near Jantar Mantar, our newly joined family. The hub of our universe, Connaught Place, Nirula's mutton sausage pizza, scoop of the month. I always go for chocolate, Tara strawberry. Mario gets something outlandish like cassata. Always ahead of his time, that one. I adore him like all the rest. What do you know when you're young anyway? We would get our pick of storybooks every so often at the Janpat bookshop. We'd get the famous fives, he'd pick Biggles. Walking quickly now, girls, past the palm-stained corners and inner circle that are so close to eye level, they leave me equally entranced and repulsed. They haven't changed one speck. The phantom sweet cigarettes we love, but it's only Mario who gets to buy them. Everything else is done collectively, like a proper family. We hang out together, whether it's shopping at Baxi Bazaar or heading to the then magnificent Chanakya cinema to watch The Fox and the Hound and Snow White. What charms did Delhi not have? Even today, specific smells trigger a flood of memories. Even petrol. I can just about close my eyes and go back to my shiniest memory ever. Me standing in the front of the Bajaj scooter, short hair flying, Mario right behind our father, Ma sometimes cruising alongside with Tara in the stately Fiat. That's my all-time favorite moment of the 80s. Now she sort of goes on to explain why things fall apart or why she thinks things fall apart. I'm just going to skip ahead to sort of weirdness in college for a bit. College. I watch myself change from the outside, eschewing a conventional morality, convinced I now know how to stay ahead of the curve, how to keep that feeling of abandonation at bay. Boarding school didn't damage me so much as expose the cracks. But I've learned my coping skills and I'm proud of the cynicism forged in hell. I meet Mario here at university. I'd met him in school again after some 5 years. Oh, Mario, still with that charisma. He sucks me again, doesn't he? And then lets go. He's plunging into the depths of his own torment by the time I'm in my final year of college. That part of the story you'll have to forgive me. I don't have the emotional bandwidth to tell you, nor do I see the point. He deludes so many of us, himself included, that nothing on this plane can quite cure us. I realize I'm utterly sick of being the groupie, sick of playing the believer, and doesn't every martyr need one of those? So I just up and change personas in college. He has weaned me off cliques though, that I will grant him. Time slips away stoner style, stained by the grubbiness of paying guest accommodation in North Campus. The beautiful and airy atmosphere of civil lines hammered by creepy landlords and the constant influx of human traffic. But that's what you get if you got no back in this city, made as it is on the basis that generations know how important one's father's job and perceived influence are. The families that build together live together. That's how Delhi rolls. Taking outsiders in for sure, but only on the surface. You make your own way here by converting to the aggression, the one focus, the social climbing that's in the city's DNA. Year 1 is spent locked away as a paying guest in a nice-looking house on Alipur Road, a prime location that sees me racing away every morning through the forest to the ridge, racing across to the safety and sanctuary of the college campus, avoiding eye contact, physical contact, uncles, bhaiyas, doggies, bastards, monkeys, but these I learned to block out. What's not cool is a lack of entertainment. That and the weirdo landlord. He's been duly checked out, and I must say there's no such thing as paranoid parenting in the capital, but there are glitches. Uncle turns out to be a dodgy lawyer, a bit of a lech, and never mind the creepy number he pulls, looking in the window at night as three of us girls sleep. I can't even say anything, can't even speak up. My family's already been through too much, and one daughter's pretty much run away. We don't speak of it beyond a point. It's too hard. And so, like all deep, dark secrets, it takes on a life of its own, creating an oppressive silence that we slowly choke on. Her absence, our guilt, we all simmer and finally boil over pure hatred. The ties binding us together ever closer rankle. I think I'll stop there for now.
The second set of readings take on a sort of confessional tone. I think what we've identified for both Maria and Amrita to read. So Maria's book, since it is a memoir, there are passages where she talks about her first erotic experience. She talks about her marriage. She talks about marriage breaking down, misunderstandings with her parents. It's beautifully observed, but very bold. Very written with a lot of nuance. So I think the passage we've picked now is from the later part of the book, sort of at the time when her marriage is dissolving.
That's right. So this fast forwards to my life in New York as an adult and towards the end of my marriage when I actually met another man. I cannot leave my marriage, not before I chance within its confines a sudden clearing, lucid, unrestricted, brimming with possibility. I first meet Alan in the Hamptons. He's an old friend of my husband's. He extends one long arm for a handshake while wrapping the other around a petite, dark-haired girl. His red hair reminds me of a New England fall. Alan is the perfect host. He never sleeps. His warm blue eyes are always on his guests, and he still manages to keep one arm around the girl. In the evenings, he grills lobsters and burgers on the porch under the Amagansett sky, while we drink beer and watch the stars come out. I have never understood the ease with which some people invoke pleasure. What I knew to be pleasure always came at a cost. You had to work for it, you had to earn it, and you hardly ever deserved it. Alan, it seemed, derived genuine pleasure from the most unexpected places. He was peculiarly fond of listening to my accounts of my childhood. Voraciously, he absorbed my descriptions of the Dhaka streets, the havoc, the monsoons, the uncompromising heat. Somehow he found humor in all my misadventures. He lightened my misgivings with a broad grin, making me stop in mid-sentence, whatever sonorous tale I happened to be telling him. He felt that he knew my mother, wished that he had met my father, and asked me again and again about my brothers and sisters. By the end of my first summer in Amagansett, I felt a distinct change in me. I woke up one morning on the mattress in our Jersey bedroom and felt a small space in the middle of my chest pop open and crackle with energy. As the day progressed, the energy spread more evenly through my chest and down towards my belly, and turned into a uniform warmth that shot through my muscles. It was a kind of sexual tension I had never felt before, the kind that precedes the predator, the prey, or the kill. It kept my pulse racing continuously in the anticipation of deliverance. But summer had come to an end, and Alan had moved back to Philadelphia, where he spent the non-summer months. I bided my time, knowing I would see Alan again. His visits to Jersey City started casually at first. Perhaps he had been in Princeton to visit his sister and wanted to drop in. Or he was coming into the city for some business and thought he might pass through Jersey to say hello. He was always careful to visit when Yamin was there and brought something with him each time. Often he stayed back for Indian takeout and beer and crashed on our unsightly green couch. He was as gracious a guest as he was a host. He always left before we woke up, his blanket neatly folded into a square and stacked by the square on one corner of the couch, the dirty dishes from the previous night washed and stacked by the sink. I counted the seconds till his next visit. It was Alan who suggested that I assist him in his new job. He was always looking for new projects and finding them without much trouble. His latest project required him to haunt different bars and lounges in Manhattan and promote certain brands of liquor. Why he needed an assistant for a job as ridiculously easy as that, I need not have guessed. I had to wear a yellow and red t-shirt with a tight black skirt, set up a table on one side of our chosen bar with sample items and drinks, and simply coax drunk men and women to try our free samples. After work, Alan and I put away our table of samples and danced the night away. In the early hours of dawn, Alan would drop me home, where I slept till evening when it was time to be with him again. While my mother complained incessantly about the indeterminate quality of her life, trapped between her dreams and her destiny, I felt that my life had never been better than when it was in perfect limbo, between reality and fantasy. I was back in the pink bathroom of childhood, simultaneously performer and audience, and there was no incorrect move. It wasn't until a few months had passed and I was heartsick from the sexual longing between me and Alan that I realized just how religious Alan was. I caught whiffs of his religious sentiments when, in moments of weakness, he revealed his need for intimacy, followed immediately by self-debasement. One day after we kissed, he leaned back into the soft, leathery coolness of the couch we were sitting on at a club called Cream and let out a long, meaningful sigh. Silver strobes of light from the dance floor zigzagged across his face. And as I brought my still warm lips closer to his mouth again, I caught the chill creeping into his features. "What's wrong?" I asked, reaching for his hand. "Nothing," he said, tenderly pushing a strand of hair from my eyes. "I was just thinking about marriage, how some people stay happily married." "Is that what you want?" I asked playfully. "To be happily married?" "I don't know," he said. "I had my chance." That is the right way, though, the way God intended it to be. My heart twisted with weariness. The sweetness of the kiss had passed, and I was left with the old familiar feeling of being caught in an act of treason.
Basically something for everyone. Okay, so we're gonna skip ahead. A lot of people die in this book, and there are also, like I said, a lot of voices. So this is 2011 Sid, who's I guess not at all. Oh no, no, I'm in this. Should I take this off? Did they not? Thank you. Is that better? So Sid is a bit of a dog. I guess you'd call him a rake in the old days, and he's a Bombay-based character who just realized like one of his best friends has just died. You don't understand, do you? You can't possibly. Not till you've seen the Sibius knot. Well, technically, it's a cosmic Mobius strip is what it is. In renaming it, we corrupted it. I think that's what killed her. That and the devil. I'm next, of course, just waiting here in my spiritual cul-de-sac. I'm shaken up, frankly. I don't have the balls to be sober anymore, or alone. It's why I'm shacking up at my aunt's in Delhi. Turned my back on the city years ago, but I hate the void more. Lost in my own world in Mumbai, I only heard that Seema had died when a friend sent me an email and then a photocopy of her journal. Seema, one of my best friends, but damn, that girl was always lost in her own head. She had me down as Mr. Freelove. That's cool, but what the hell was all this potential father of her children's stuff? And little blue hearts? Shit, man, it's like you don't even know anyone. So she must have obviously got over me at some point, but I'm amazed she never let on. She must have known I'd have flipped out, especially since we had such a great connection. It's pretty rare, you know, to be on the same wavelength to that extent. It's not even the drugs. It's because we were so young with our first transcendental experience. I mean, she and I saw what we call the knot, right? Up in Missouri, together with that boy from my school. What was his name? Mario. Now, he was a hero, my man. He gave us our first shrooms, too, towards the end of high school. That whole trip opened up my freaking third eye. Seema and I, we did the Vipassana, too, later on, but we could already see it by then. We're all connected. We're all each other. From her journal here. In one blinding moment, you see it all, the interconnections of everything. You're part of this intricate web, you've heard that, but in one pulsating moment, you feel it. You're the horizon. You and every goddamn person in your life. It's incredible. You feel where you touch, overlap, your life energy, your connections, flashes of light, love, compassion, depending on who they are. Often the darkness, the hate, the negative, evil. You can feel that too. You can feel it coming. You can avoid it when you see it. When you see the rest of you, the more of you that plug in, the more of a chance we have. This is back to Sid. But we ruined that experience somehow. The devil got her because you really won't be able to keep up if you haven't seen the knot. He saw us, individually. It was awful. That motherfucker eyeballed us. He's messing with our heads as we speak. Seema should have told me towards the end, all that bogus bullshit of a tough exterior, it's not weakness to face the facts. We're like those metaphorical ants of the Mobius strip. Do you remember the diagrams from your maths class? They can keep going forever. It's infinity, you see? So pretty. But what we got with our confusion and, let's face it, probably some evil within our souls was a knot, all tangled up. And the devil was in there with us. And then Mario, Seema's knight of the non-table, Mario telling her that we had to follow through now that we'd seen it, that we had a responsibility, a mission. The point is, I'm trying to warn everyone I know. It's not like with the rest of humanity. With us, it's personal. Mario's gone, Seema's gone. I'm damn sure I'm the only one who knows what's going on. And I don't for a moment believe that the politician killed her, no matter what Seema's friend Preeta has been raving on about. I know who did it. Death. The devil. I don't know how to deal. How the hell do I get over this? How to save myself? Forget mourning. I can't even deal with all the people we know in common, you know? I don't mean to make this about me, but I'm constantly pulled back into her world. She'd really get invested in things, in people, and now she's gone and left me this invisible shadow looming large, suffocating me in my sleep. We hadn't spoken for weeks, true, but I still can't believe she's gone. I need to get out of here. I need to shake this out of my system. I hit the road, but instead of finding a new place like I usually do, somehow I find myself staying in Delhi, our city. The city we all grew up in. It's changed, of course, but at the core are some really shitty people, shitty memories. You only get warm and fuzzy about this place if you leave it. Right now it's May and the heat is so bad it leaves everything in a haze. Not to mention my own internal haze. I'm so not in the mood to get out and about. That endless Delhi flitting about from party to party. It's the same crew. How do these people bear it day after day? I'm just going to skip ahead to the dark sort of side of Delhi. The city makes me uneasy, Sid says. It shakes me up. It keeps me on edge. There's never any good news. The same crap in the news year in, year out. A gang rape in Gurgaon. A 5-year-old molested and murdered on the outskirts of Delhi. Fast forward, rewind, you hear the same gruesome stories day after day. Just the details get gorier. A tandoor murder. The Nithari cannibalism. Everywhere you look, the defenseless are being mowed down. Yeah, this city's got it all right. That barbaric vibe, it's got it down pat. And you want to talk about just my one circle, none of this 6 degrees nonsense? A friend is pulled over and has a gun brandished at him right on the Noida highway for overtaking a car. Another friend is smacked around by a group of guys she doesn't know. An acquaintance has a drink spiked at a friend's house by guys she does know. An acquaintance's aunt commits suicide after years of incest with her brother. Another friend kills himself when his girlfriend doesn't share his life plan. After years of sponging off others, a senior from college takes to driving a cab and has by now OD'd in one seedy hole in this city. Another friend's brother was drugged out of his skull, still an undergraduate, when he shoved his finger in a light socket. The stories, they don't stop, so you have to make them. I roll, take a hit, and then another.
Thank you, Amrita. So I must add that Amrita's book is divided into chapters written by these different characters. This one was by Sid, and they all start with an address and a date and a PIN code. Now, why PIN code? You need to read the book to find out. So we're going to have a short Q&A before we open it up to the audience. Both your books approach worlds that you're very familiar with, but from two different ends. So yours is a memoir and hers is sort of guised as fiction. Maria, tell me what were the merits of calling your book a memoir? Do you think readers are essentially voyeuristic and connect better with the book when it's sort of promoted as a non-fiction book? Or was that something you needed to do as an author?
Well, I don't know if readers are essentially voyeuristic. I think that has a sort of dark undertone to it. But I know that whether it's memoir or a novel that a reader is reading, I think what they're looking for is some sort of a truth, an emotional truth, so to speak. And I think for memoirists, that emotional life, the interior life of the memoir almost has to be richer than the novel, because the memoirist has sort of less to play with in terms of plot and action. Not to say that they're limited in any way, but it's just that you can't depend on plot and action to build tension, so to speak. So I think that rich emotional interior life of the memoir is very important, much more so than the novel in some ways. And for me, actually, that was one of the things I loved writing a memoir for. And the other aspect of, in my specific context, writing a memoir as a Bangladeshi author of my generation, I don't think anyone's done that in Bangladesh. Certainly not in English, yeah. And after the book came out, a lot of people have come up to me, especially younger people, and said, "Oh, really? We always thought you had to write a memoir when you're like, I don't know, 55 or 60 or something." And that has been very exciting for me. It's just you don't have to write a memoir. You don't have to wait until the end of your life to write a memoir. And yeah, just having done that.
I believe you're also a big fan of reading memoirs. Can you tell us about, a few of your favorite memoirs?
Two of my favorite memoirs that always sort of spring to my mind right away, although I've read many and like many of them. One of them is Vivian Gornick's Fierce Attachments, and that also is a very sort of intense memoir about one intense relationship in her life, which is mother-daughter relationship. And the other one is Bia Lowe's Wild Ride. Those are two of my most favorites, I think.
Amrita, in your case, I know you did a lot of, you spoke to a lot of psychologists, you did a lot of research and interviews about mental health and drug abuse. You did enough research that the book could have, a lot of the characters are based on people you know, although they are composite characters. Do you think using, calling it a fiction book or the guise of fiction let you explore areas or talk about things that you wouldn't have? And you're a journalist also, so you're quite well versed with the nonfiction.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like also because this story kind of took on a life of its own, right? It's this group of kids essentially living in a parallel reality which they feel is really true. They think that the devil exists, does it not? And for me, I thought the interesting thing was to just see how, because I think essentially the truth of this book is that relationships are ridiculously fragile, and your grasp on reality can be equally fragile. So some of the stuff I'd done in terms of mental health research and so on did inform my journalistic coverage, and it got me thinking, and some of the conversations I had with psychologists were about how, our generation is the first generation that's being drugged, especially in the US, so systematically. What earlier would be called like an angsty child, or is now hyper and given something for ADD, and it's starting at a really really young age. So at some point or the other, a lot of these characters have that kind of experience. They've gone through some trauma. No one lets you actually just live through the trauma or deal with it. You're given something immediately to cope, and you're supposed to go back to normal. So I feel it certainly helped me to have it. And I don't think I would have pulled it off as a sort of non-fiction, a work of non-fiction. And I wanted them all to have their own voices, because I was kind of experimenting with that. So yeah, it certainly helped to have it as a novel.
Maria, since your book is it's very intimate, talks about your family and your relationships and your marriage. What were the reactions of people around? Did you have to pre-sensitize people before the book was out? Was that something you thought you needed to do, or just curious about how people reacted?
I probably needed to do it, but I didn't. I didn't tell anyone in my family. They knew that I was writing something.
Read the book before?
No, nobody read the book, and nobody, sort of asked for it either, because they knew I was writing something, but they just figured that when the time came, I would tell them. And when the time came, I told them, but it was already published. So, so yeah, I just decided to, because I didn't want to have preconceived ideas of, what it should be and how it would make people feel. So it was, in some ways, a selfish decision, perhaps, but that's how I went about it. That's how I dealt with my anxious, my anxiety or fears over what would happen. Yeah.
So because of the color in the book, and we are exposed to, you really described Dhaka and then New England really well. The other book by a Bangladeshi British author, Monica Ali's Brick Lane, was made into a movie that I don't think many people saw. But reading your book, I really thought it had a lot of cinematic potential, also because we are traveling across and this girl's sort of growing up. Now, people might not have reacted very strongly because this is a book. Do you think if it is made into a movie, which I hope it is, do you think you might need to tweak or change things, or would you be open to that for a movie adaptation?
You know, it's funny that you say that because just this morning I got this email from a film director asking, asking, you know, he wants to talk about. But anyway, yeah, I honestly had not given it any thought until this morning, and I still haven't. But yeah, I think I would be open to, you know, and it's just something that, I mean, of course, I wouldn't be open to, like, you know, changing a fact completely. But yeah, tweaking, absolutely, yeah.
Same thing as me.
Sure, I mean, and your mother is here, like we said, and you know, there's the character called Amy, who you agreed was sort of, you know, and it's Amrita and Amy. I mean, you can't really go back from that. And you talk about your relationship to your mother, and you did go to boarding school, I think, for a year, and Amy
Facts
goes to
are
boarding
stacking up.
school. So tell me about, did you show the book to your mother, or, you know, as a novelist, how much of that freedom do you think you deserve?
I feel like, I mean, so I've actually wanted not to read it, but she's here and she's going to read it anyway because I think it's sort of like what you say, you know, I mean, you have this sort of duty almost to what you're writing to be true to it, and then let the world react, your family react as they will. And mine is, my family is very supportive. When I say that these are composite characters, I feel like I've been taking from people's lives. Like I've taken from my life, I've taken from, I mean, I steal all the time, you know, I'll be like, oh, this is a conversation I heard, this is fascinating. I put in a conversation about coffee that I had with Jeet Kyle a few years ago, you know, I mean, I'm constantly taking inspiration from those kind of things. And certainly, you know, some bits of the Delhi childhood or college life, I would have said that I've experienced firsthand, or I've seen that bit. That's the last bit I read about Sid's, you know, the non-6 degrees of separation. 2 or 3 of the stories are from people within my own circle of friends, and I find that to be very traumatic also, because I think, I mean, this is kind of what connects this to my first book, is that people are just not talking about the toll that modern day life can take. Even though we're also hyper connected, you can also be extremely isolated. If you've ever been a misfit, or you know someone who hasn't, you know, who's felt marginalized, things get very drastic very quickly, you know. So I was interested in exploring that. So I would say that it is fictional. I don't think any of my friends are going to recognize themselves, but they might recognize certain conversations or, you know, some characteristics, for example.
Also, Amrita, your first book, Broken News, was set, you know, immediately in a world you're so familiar with, set in a newsroom. You've been a news anchor for several years, and since your 2 books sold, and this is your second book, and it's in a parallel world. Clearly, it's drawn from life, but it's a very trippy world. How different was it for you to go from that, you know, almost first-person writing to move on to this kind of fiction book?
I think it was definitely a work in progress, and that's kind of why I was experimenting with the different voices as well, because it makes you apply yourself in a way that maybe first person comes more naturally in many ways. I initially thought this was like a collection of short stories, and I was told by my agent that that's just ridiculous. You know, it's a novel, go and work on it. But when my first book came out, for example, a lot of people from my office were really disappointed that, you know, there were no like exposés in there about who's sleeping with whom. You know, it wasn't a true to life. I mean, but all of the elements, I feel like it's a kind of book it could have taken place, you know. This may be not so realistic, but again, it's true to life in that you will have people. I mean, at that age, I think especially our generation, when you didn't have access to that much. I mean, growing up in India at least, that many resources. Even now is pretty staggering. So I've sort of put that in my acknowledgements. It's like apparently the estimate is that 1 in 4 people at some point will need help for some sort of mental illness. This country has under 4,000, you know, like trained psychiatrists. So I just feel like it's a bit, it's not such a reach. Like it is a trippy book. I've been told it's a bit of a ride, but it's quite possible that, you know, like-minded people, I think, do find each other. If you're lost, you're likely to find someone, you know, who's lost as well. And with someone who has such a strong personality as Mario does, who's kind of this unspoken character to the end, I think it's easy to fall under the influence of someone like that, especially at that age.
Maria, so you've been writing a lot of short stories. You've been published in several journals. I believe there was a piece you wrote about your relationship with your mother that Dia saw in a literary journal that led her to contacting you and sort of led to the book. So you probably explored parts of what appear in the book in shorter versions earlier. How was it, you know, to revisit that or go probe further into those relationships and, you know, the twisted relationships and the problems, and write a full-length book? I mean, how much of that did it take?
Yeah, I mean, I think the piece of writing you're talking about was actually an excerpt from the memoir. Yeah, so a few of those were published in various places, and which is what eventually became the memoir. Yeah, I mean, writing about the relationships. I mean, that's just the sort of superficial way of looking at it. I think a lot of people ask me, like, why do you, what is it about your relationship with your mother that made you write it? And I think what it is I go back to the primary question in my memoir, which is at its very basic form, it's a quest of sort of finding my own identity. For as long as I can remember, my mother was sort of my moral compass, and at the same time, she was a constant source of mystery. I wanted to be like her. I loved the things she loved, but at the same time, I didn't understand her, and she was oftentimes not very available emotionally. So I realized that I sort of needed to write about that relationship because I needed to break away from it. I needed to find my own identity. And so if you remember the very first scene in the prologue where I write about the birth,
Yeah.
and I know we had spoken about this before.
Because both of your books they both write about their birth, which is very interesting in very different ways. And since yours is a memoir, technically you couldn't have observed your own birth. So that's
could
something.
not have.
Yeah. So that's something that I think lifts your book above and the novelistic treatment of the matter. And you write about your birth very beautifully, and
Yeah.
you imagine it from your mother's point of view as well. In fact, it might be nice to just read a part of that. If you don't mind it, just a short
Sure.
part.
Yeah, but
Before we open it up for questions. Okay, so maybe we
I'll just read a very small part then. But what I wanted to say was that, I write that obviously not because I remember it from memory, but from hearsay, but just to sort of use it as a metaphor of, the disembodiment from myself, from my mother, and the beginning of my
and
own
the
journey.
separation which you write about.
Exactly. So this is the prologue where I write about the birth scene. Maybe the child already knew that once she stopped sharing the same body with her mother, her world would shatter irreparably. That knowledge alone must have made her cling to the walls of her mother's womb with all her infant strength. Her mother lay on her back on a damp hospital bed, flanked on both sides by nurses in white. It was the hour after midnight, and she groaned with the pain of labor that had started 8 hours ago. The sharpness had gone out of her cries. The only other sound was the unexpected December rain beating against the windows. A great force overtook the two bodies that were still one, ripping them apart. Bones moving, skin splitting, tissue steering, blood, and more blood.
Thank you. So Amrita's going to read a bit, and then we're going to open it up to the audience for questions. The birth part.
This is again Amy. It starts like many adventures, I'm told, at birth, or in my case, near death. My mom is going to recognize this actually. Just disclaimer. In golf links, I must add, not a stone's throw from my most favorite marketplace in the city. But we'll have to save tales of Khan Market and Delhi's coils for another time. We must now speak in hushed tones as that beautiful young baby is just born, about to die. I'm going to skip ahead. Wait a second though, all eyes now on this third generation fighter who emerges jaundiced, tiny, and almost dead from the RH factor incompatible from the start. But there's a donor found just in time, right here at this nursing home where Amitabh Bachchan will shoot a few scenes of Silsila just a couple of years later. A donor here to give blood to the baby girl. The nurse's son, says grandma. Rubbish, says ma, the nurse herself. The details get fuzzy after that, some things consigned to the dustbin of time. The only splash of sunlight, our shining star Tara, born 3 years after me.
Thank you, madam. I'm Kumar from Climate Change Energy Issues from CSTV Academy's Advanced Industrial Disaster Risk Reduction and Information Center. I point to Madam about the climate change, equity and energy and country development. Bangladesh achieve the target of Millennium Development Goal. The question is, why India is not getting the target of Millennium Development in the involvement of humans, United Nations Women paradigm shifting. So what should be the paradigm shift on the activities of the social climate in India? It's a big question of climate change, renewable energy for clean air, clean water, clean sheltering, clean food.
Yeah, maybe you can talk to Maria about this later. This is not really pertinent to this discussion. So any questions related to the books or the authors directly? We'll talk about it after this.
Good afternoon to all three of you. My question is to Ms. Maria. Going back to the second reading that you did, you talked about self-debasement before meeting Alan in New York. So my question is, what kind of self-debasement you were feeling at that moment? If you could just throw a light on that self-debasement you mentioned.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I met Alan at a time when my marriage was failing. So that in and of itself was a difficult situation. But I don't know if you picked up, but the two readings I chose both have this theme of religiosity. My father was a very religious, pious man, and it turned out that the man I fell in love with was equally as religious, which is eventually what broke us apart. And so, whenever I was with him, I had that feeling of guilt that I had felt as a child in my home for different reasons, and that's what I sort of meant by self-debasement.
Other questions? There's one at the back.
Hello. My question is especially to Maria. You have written about some bold scenes inspired by your own life. So I want to know, as a woman, what sacrifices did you undergo, while writing and after the publish of the book? You must have gone through something. So.
Right. I mean, the biggest sacrifice I think you undergo, and it's a conscious decision, so I don't even know if I can call it a sacrifice, but to basically give up your privacy in some sense. But it's a conscious choice you will make when you write a memoir. But again, I think, I had to undergo most of the sacrifices or sort of tension after it was published, because like I said, I never shared any of it with my family until it was all out. And then I had to face the reactions and responses from my family, and that was difficult. But that didn't happen until after it was written.
Questions for Amrita?
Hi, I'm Shichi. So I just wanted to add with what the young lady asked right now. So the question is to both of you actually. You wrote in Delhi, I guess, and you wrote in both of you wrote in a very contrasting environment, Bangladesh, where, both where the condition of women is, you may say, vulnerable, or women are very educated. That the fact we see you writing beautifully this memoir brings out the fact that, a very contrasting environment. And you said that you did not tell your family while writing. Even you mentioned the fact that till a long time your mother doesn't even know that you were writing. So I just want both of you to share a little bit of experiences while you were writing. That what were the apprehensions that when these books of yours would be read by your family members?
Reaction.
Yeah, the reaction. Thank you.
Well, I mean, I feel like I covered myself with that full disclaimer to my family that, I have nothing to do with what happened in this book. Like, these characters took on a life of their own. And in a way, I feel like it's true, because I started out with very clear ideas of who these people were in my book, and they kind of, they went on and named themselves, like they, went on this strange trip. But, it sort of came together in a way that I wouldn't consciously necessarily have chosen. Obviously, writing is sort of a craft, and as you go about it. But I think especially, my family was really receptive to my first book as well, and no one ever came up to me and asked me like, oh, did this happen to you, or did this happen to you, or the only people, in fact, who didn't ask if my first book was biographical were my relatives. So I wasn't really concerned. I feel like the only reason I keep bringing up my mum and my dad, actually, I should say, is because there's so much trauma in this book. The sexual violence. You talk about safety of women, it plays a prominent role in this book, you know, and the undertones of Delhi, I feel, are more interesting to investigate because that's something a lot of us are talking about in the media finally, and it comes out in a strong way in this book. So I wouldn't want them to worry, which is probably why I keep saying this, but I mean, I completely understand that it's, you know, a novel. I don't have that many apprehensions really about them.
I think for me the biggest sort of anxiety was not so much like, you know, what would be the response or whether my mother or my sister or whoever would be angry, but the privacy that I talked about, the privacy that you give up the most, I think you're most anxious about giving up your revealing yourself to the people who are closest to you, you know. It doesn't, you know, I didn't have any fear associated with revealing myself to my readers, but I was very fearful of revealing my deepest feelings to my own mother and my sisters and brother and whatnot. So that for me was one of the biggest anxiety areas.
If there are no more questions, we'll wrap up.
We wish to thank Amrita Tripathi, Maria Chaudhuri, and Anindita Ghose. Thank you very much. I would also like